And now I want to talk about the music and the soundtrack, because I think, in my personal opinion, the soundtrack really made it unique to people and players, because for whatever reason, the soundtrack was just, I think, perfect.
It set the tone.
Absolutely. That's what I was looking for. It set the tone. Anytime I hear the old tracks of those games, I'm just like, wow, this gives me such nostalgia. And I just wanted to know what your opinion was about the soundtrack and the themes.
The thing I think is super unique is that every homeworld has its own vibe, and the music helps with that so much. And like when you're in Magic Crafters, you know you're in Magic Crafters. When you're in Dreamweavers, you know you're in Dreamweavers. And especially if you're replaying it, it helps to get you back in that mindset of that homeworld, because they're all super unique. And you go to Peacekeepers, and it's this, really military sound, and you were like, oh wait, the vibe just changed. I went from a relaxing meadow, and now I'm in an army situation, which I think is really cool.
I agree 100%. It really gives an amazing aspect to the game as far as helping you get immersed into it. And what were your comments about the soundtrack?
Well, I'll put a disclaimer up front. I'm a huge fan of Stewart Copeland, who did the soundtrack.
Hell yeah, Stewart Copeland. You're the man. You're the man. Thank you.
I didn't know that he did it as a kid, but later on I learned, and it was just fantastic. But a lot of what you both of you have said, the music set the tone for each level and each homeworld, and it was just so perfect. Everything just matched really well, and nothing felt out of place. You heard a song and you see the level and you're like, yeah, this matches. And one of the things I wanted to say too is in the Reignited trilogy, the opening title was a song that Stewart Copeland wrote for the Reignited trilogy. But it didn't feel out of place. When you first turned the game on, it didn't sound new. It sounded familiar. You didn't realize it was a brand new song, because he just kept it so true to that style and just the way the games were.
How you were saying that opening theme song, it's different. It's maybe a little bit more modern with maybe some different aspects of the music world in there now. But the roots, it's from Spyro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
it sounds like it's from the original, even though it's not.
Right, and he did a great job of starting an identity. And you've been a fan of his
for years.
Mm-hmm. Is there did he do any other video games, or
he might have? I'm just not aware of it.
Okay,
because I know he's done a lot of stuff outside of the police too. So he might have done other soundtracks, but that's the big one that everybody thinks of when they think of him in outside works.
And you mentioned the band Police?
Yes.
Okay, so he was a member of that?
Yeah, he was their drummer.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Wow, that's awesome. And he was able to do his own thing and establish the soundtrack for an iconic gaming franchise.
And one more thing I'd like to throw out about the music too was in Spyro 2. One of my favorite things was how each level had its own intense sort of music, but when you got to the homeworlds, they were just so peaceful and calm, because the homeworlds were like that. It wasn't like in 1 where there were enemies even in the homeworlds. In 2, it was completely safe. There were no enemies, nothing like that, and the music matched that. It didn't make it seem like there was any danger. It was just calming, it was peaceful, and it just made you feel okay.
As weird as it sounds, for example, Summer Forest.
Oh yeah.
Just walking around that level, just taking in the ambient music or the ambient sounds, and then the soundtrack that went with it, the theme. It was like you're in your own paradise, whereas everything was peaceful, like you said, peaceful. There's no enemies. Pick where you want to go. If you need to relax or whatever, you could almost use that song or that theme as meditation music almost. You know what I mean? It's so calming. It's so calm in comparison to number 1, where you have Peacekeepers, and you got the Beast Makers and the Artisan World too. It just seemed like things were a little bit more upbeat and intense in the first one, where the second one was a little bit more mellow.